Hello everyone, my name's David. I'm a Camden tour guide. I'd like to talk to you about a building that you may have walked past many times and really not looked at closely. It's an important building and it's part of the King's Cross Central development behind King's Cross railway station. That's a wonderful place. It's actually a mixture of commercial offices, retail, education, residential and entertainment. Lots of things going on in the King's Cross Central development. But the building I want to talk about is a small building, and it's on the right-hand side of the Granary building. This is a photograph I took back in 2016. And you can see the building, but I'll zoom in to show you it in more detail. And it's a small building, very easily missed. But it's actually a building that's known officially as 2 Granary Square. It used to be called Regeneration House, and it's sometimes referred to today as just the House of Illustration. But in many ways, this is probably the key building for the King's Cross Station complex. And it was built in 1850 as the main goods office for the King's Cross Goods Yard. And people tend to think of King's Cross today as a passenger railway station, completed in 1853. But for most of its history, the Great Northern Company, who ran the trains into King's Cross, was first and foremost a company that made money from delivering goods. I've got a picture here. The picture of 1890s, the Ordnance Survey, and it shows the goods yard that existed in the 1890s, actually only a small part of it. At this stage, the complete site had 5,000 workers. Over 1,000 horses worked here. And all kinds of products were brought in from the north of England and delivered into London. This included the timber, the bricks and the stones required to build Victorian London, the coal that provided the energy and fuel for Londoners, and then the food, the fish, the milk, the grain and the potatoes required to feed London, and even a few specialised products like bananas and, would you believe, quails. The Granary building itself, the big building we saw earlier on, actually held enough grain to make 9 million loaves of bread. Over 1 million tonnes of goods were brought into London every year in the 1890s. And this little goods office was the control centre of this entire operation, feeding, building and generally looking after London. I'd like to now take you around the building, and to do that, first of all, we're going to have a look at where the building is. And if you start off with the Granary Square, the big building, and you move around to the right hand side, you can see the brick building on the right here. Behind those trees is the building we're talking about. Notice that it's made out of a wonderful quality brick. It is a quality building. The building was put together by Lewis Cubitt. He was one of the 3 Cubitt brothers who built much of London. Lewis specialised in railway architecture. He built many railway stations around the country, and King's Cross was the last of his projects. So he built most of the old buildings of the station, including the passenger station. Oddly enough, he was employed by the chief engineer of the Great Northern, a chap who was also called Cubitt, William Cubitt. But as far as we can tell, they were not related. And after completing this job, Lewis Cubitt, he retired to live in Brighton. He actually lived for 40 years. If we move around another corner, we can see it from the far end. This building was actually saved by community action in the 1980s. Became the headquarters of an outfit called the London Regeneration Consortium. That's where it gained the earlier name of Regeneration House. But today, the building focuses on 2 different operations. This is a view of the eastern side of the building. This is the entrance you would go through to visit the House of Illustration. Now, the House of Illustration is a gallery and first-class shop, and it's devoted to the illustrative and graphic arts. The operation was championed by the well-known illustrator Quentin Blake, and has held some wonderful exhibitions. It's also very active in the educational space, and it provides educational programs for a wide range of people, right from the youngest children through higher education, adult classes, all the way through to people who are retired. The house actually occupies the ground floor and the basement. The other occupant, though, of the building, on the first floor and the second floor. Now, the second operation is the Art Fund. This is a charity that's devoted to supporting museums and galleries and helping them to buy and display great works of art. They're also behind the wonderful National Art Pass. If you have a pass, you can actually get into many places, many galleries free or at discounted prices. And the money you pay for the card actually helps to support the museums. Well worthwhile obtaining. So I hope you've actually enjoyed this introduction to one of Camden's hidden gems. Next time you go past the house, do consider the history of the building and the fact that it controlled the goods traffic that helped to build and feed Victorian London. If you're interested in finding out more about our walking tours, please visit camdenguides.com or follow or subscribe to us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube and Instagram. Thank you for listening, and if you want to come on a tour of the King's Cross area, do contact us.